Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to BioShock Infinite. Kind of jumping straight into the action here.
Look, rocks are tearing this place apart.
Fortunately, that elevator was not about to explode or fall down, but, you know, we are still a sitting duck by sitting there, so I figured, you know, let's be efficient about this. Speaking of which, I suppose it was a good idea to get rid of the guy with the rocket launcher first. But yeah, there's a few too many people are collecting over there, so I figured it was time to move on.
There's no getting out of this. Reloading!
Oh, there's Elizabeth coming up. Don't need a volley gun. I wonder why they're not coming up here after me, though. I mean, especially if Elizabeth shows up at a place, you know that, you know, the AI is allowed to go there. You know, the other guy with a lot of armor didn't take that long to die.
Book a flak cannon!
Ah, reinforcements. Ah, shit. Getting to be a little too high up there. Figure a good way to get at them would be to come up and see about getting myself a little high up too. What the hell? What just happened? How did I end up in the corner like that? It's nuts.
There you go!
Oh, it's a map. Oh, it's a rocket.
Stay with me, Booker!
Okay, this one, I am not going to claim responsibility for this one, because I dropped like half my health because the game decided to sprint me like halfway across the goddamn map. And understandably took off some of my health. Anyhow, got one of the big guys up here. Of course, it's not a good idea to stay up on the lines, because, yeah, electrify the whole damn rail in one location. Not doing as much damage as I would like. Doing a little better now.
There! That one!
Okay!
Alright, that's a little better.
Do it!
Sure thing!
You know, they got these environmental hazard things here. I figure I ought to make use of them.
Come on out!
So, yeah, let's electrify him up a bit. See if that'll do anything. You can shoot lightning balls? Didn't even know you could do that.
Catch, Booker!
Nice!
That's it!
Alright, so I think Return to Sender is doing a little damage here. Oddly enough, it is catching damage he's dealing to me, even though it's not the bullets that appear in my hand. So Yeah, as far as I can tell, the handymen don't have any specific weaknesses, but the strategies that are most effective against normal people are still somewhat effective against the big guys. Yeah, I know it's a hailfire, but I just didn't want the gun anymore. What I really want is a shotgun. So I'll be looking around for that as I start looting the place. Aha! Nice. Trust the police. Right, so Market District is one of 2 exits. Oh, hey. Oh, crap. I didn't get a good look at it. Luckily, I remembered what the inventory button is this time. So, let's see, I think that was a hat. So, ammo cap. Auto-filling. Well, I've got reload upgrades for both of my primary weapons, so I don't really need that sort of advantage. Plus, you know...
Want to hold on to this?
Who even waits for...
On it.
It's a little creepy. I guess he's from a Columbia that hasn't fallen to shit. He's just going to stand there like that. Where was I? Now, who bothers waiting for the clip to run out before reloading? Honestly. Elizabeth, personal space, come on. Maybe you did want to lean back against that barrel, but still, that's no excuse. And oh boy, I think this is everything that's left. Yeah, it looks like there's 2 for just about everything, and yeah, charge boost. Now my charge is fully upgraded.
Electricity!
Oh, that's right, there's a bit down there. I could pick up a crank gun from the universe in which this particular segment of the world is inside a building.
Open it!
Aye.
Seems a little weird, but well, like I've said, crank guns are just kind of crap. Not because they don't do a lot of damage, but because they take forever to find a new one. Doesn't look like I can climb up onto the side there. I can jump up here, of course. We're up here, but...
Can you open this, Elizabeth?
Seems easy enough.
we did not go through that locked door before.
Ready.
Aha.
I had trapped the atom in mid-air. Colleagues called my Lutece field quantum levitation, but in fact it was nothing of the sort. Magicians levitate. My atom simply failed to fall. If an atom could be suspended indefinitely, well, why not an apple? If an apple, why not a city?
Well, it's not really quantum suspension, though, because... I don't know, if that were the case, it wouldn't still move relative to the planets.
Back there at the shop, what you asked me to do.
Let's not discuss it.
No, what did that thing do to you?
If he were to take me back, that's death, Mr. DeWitt. Or something so like it I cannot tell the difference.
it's still moving in relation to the planet. It's more like a gravitational effect than a quantum one.
You want to take a look at this?
I can do that.
Or at least a quantum effect in relation to
It's
gravity and nothing else. Anyway, there's two ways to go here, and the walkthrough I'm using to find every last upgrade and collectible, it's kind of gets a little goofy around here because what we're in right now is a big circle. And
Need money?
for whatever reason, it says basically the order of things it presents is to go towards one thing,
Got a lock, needs picking.
Oh, this won't take long at all.
or start going in one direction,
All done.
and then finish by going in the other.
A code book. I wonder where the cipher is.
So, yes, even though I've started exploring in one direction, I will not be making a full circuit immediately. I will instead be doubling back after I... Oh, hello. Let's see how this goes. Incredibly effective. Good to know. 2 shotgun blasts, 1 charge, and if you haven't noticed already, I've got the one item equipped that makes everything take double damage after I give it a melee strike. By the way, I was just taking a good look at the map in case you wanted to understand where everything was. Yes, there's fire, Elizabeth. Thank you. I mean, I know realistically she would have been doing that constantly because smoke doesn't let up, but, you know, still.
Can you unlock this?
I'll give it a whirl. Got it.
A lot of lockpicks sitting around.
What a waste. How's the city going to come back from this?
Maybe it shouldn't.
It's unnecessarily dark. Booker. Yeah, new infusion. And a whole ton of money. Might be able to buy a new upgrade. Well, anyway, that's as far as I'm going in this direction for now, so now I'm just going to double back to the entrance where the Bank of the Prophet is. Instead, I'm just going to go in the other direction. Maybe save a little time using the rail system here. Let's see about a new figure. Oh man, I got a lot of more money. But I do like the look of that shock chain aid. I may just have to save up. I'll save up next time.
Found some money.
Already well on my way to that next upgrade. Wait, why would they call this Beggar's Alley? There would never have been any beggars here. I mean, this is the nice part of town. If there were beggars here, the cops would come and clean them up. The city isn't like 20 years old yet. So to say the least, they don't really have a history of gentrification in this area.
There's a
Guess
sniper, Booker.
there are some people up here. That's one down. Who needs a sniper rifle, really? Well, it would probably help. Oh shit.
Take this now! Booker, catch!
That'll do.
Yeah, no kidding. That was really close. Alright, where are you? Where did you go, son of a bitch?
Listen.
There!
The sentence is death!
I can hear them shouting at me, but oh wait. Saw the spyglass glint.
Daisy wants you dead!
No, she doesn't. She freaking is dead.
There! That one!
Doesn't know anything anymore.
Gonna reload! Not getting out of here alive!
Alright, that's 5. You shouldn't be reloading. Didn't see him reload, but he didn't fire at least. So that's good.
I'll wait down here.
How are we supposed to get up there? I know there's supposed to be like a melee challenge where you can get through this entire game just by using the skyhook.
Go ahead. I'll be fine.
I'm not sure if you're just supposed to ignore that sniper up there, or maybe you're allowed to
Those
use...
pennants. Seems like the Vox have chosen their favorite color.
Seems about right.
Yep. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, how to get that last sniper. I mean, I think maybe charge could get you up there. I'm not sure if charge, strictly speaking, counts in favor of a melee-only run.
Wear your flannel underwear when you climb a tree. Hey, good. Carry yourself. You belong to me. But now you're overflowing when the wind is free. Hey,
Yes. More of your finest wine, James. Consider this overdue recompense. Oh, wait. Back taxes.
Let's try out that explosive damage. Nice.
Tonight, the Prophet moved against his political enemies. He preaches mercy, but 40 souls lie tonight dead in unmarked graves. If a man was ever unworthy of grace, it would be my husband. But when I was beyond redemption, he offered it anyway. How can I deny forgiveness to one who with love granted it to me?
Well, you could have just written him a note instead of confronting him personally. I think that might have been it better for you. And then again, there wasn't exactly a underground resistance built up to fight against him at that point, so...
Need a lock picked.
No problem.
No, maybe not, even then. And then there's always that parachute
All yours.
option. Okay, so there is somebody in here. Some guy who decided that he would go down fighting. When the Vox invaded, I guess. Wait, is this a public building? Because he's got public trash cans in his house, otherwise. It does seem pretty nice, actually. Nicer than that, in fact. Alright, we're going with overkill. Seems like I've been dealing enough of it as of late to make some use out of it. This back area always tricks me every time I play this game. Oh, wait. You can pull stuff out of those mailboxes sometimes. Huh. Odd to just sort of find a lockbox lying around like that. Maybe somebody else got electrified into ash. That could happen. The only person on Columbia who's got, them, what do you call them? Vigors. Why do I keep forgetting that? Uh-oh.
Your corpse will turn on a spit.
Well, sounds like the founders are engaging with the Vox.
Fire and fury.
And if they want to wear themselves down fighting each other, that's fine by me. It's not like there's any sort of experience system whereby they would be stealing perfectly good points away from me. The only experience to speak of is money.
Do it! Now!
Okay!
Nothing to worry about is not having enough of it. Ah, crap. Someone spotted me. Ah, almost got them in one shot. This is being surprisingly effective for me being stuck in one spot. Oh, but now he's firing fireballs. You can't have that. Uh-oh. I think he's coming after me. Hey there, buddy.
I will kill you!
Yeah, considering I was just stuck to a skyhook for most of that, it was surprisingly effective.
Honey, want it? Take this.
Still a little ways away from getting that second shock jockey enhancement. Not too far away, though. Here's something new.
It's locked.
Give me a second.
Now, this is where the lockpicks really come in handy.
It's done.
Glad I've got like 20 of them in reserve. Sounds pretty nice. But not as nice as that. For that matter, I think I'm pretty much set as far as my clothing options go.
In front of all the men, the sergeant looked at me and said, "Your family tree shelters a teepee or two, doesn't it, son?" This lie, this calumny had followed me all my life. From that day, no man truly called me comrade. It was only when I burnt the teepees with the squaws inside did they take me as one of their own. Only blood can redeem blood.
You know, I keep thinking about that dream that you had. New York on fire. There's something about it.
It's a bit of a creepy association there. Comparing the one to the other like that. Although, both sort of spring from the same source. I saw something red glinting around here. Check the corner here first, and that's an invisible wall. Huh. But yeah, I can see it. There's some... Ah, sniper rifle. In the sniper rifle spot. Go figure. And another sniper rifle, just in case you missed the first one. That's actually pretty nice. But again, the thing I don't like about the sniper rifle is how few bullets it's got compared to how effective it is. The shotgun, the hand cannon, got some pretty big magazines. Or cylinders, as the case may be. In any case, I've officially reached Homestuck House. And we officially still don't have enough for shock chain aid. Damn, so close. Just need another 109.
You hold on to this.
Damn. Thanks, Elizabeth. For 200. She found. Kind of funny that we came across a battle that's apparently long since ended.
Beyond that gate is Homestuck House.
Yet another shrine to the Lady Comstock. Sure are a lot of them.
This is for the miracle child. Hello. I'm sorry your mother, Lady Comstock, is dead. I think she is altogether better than mine. Since you live there, can you tell me why the tower has been closed? People say it's poor weather, then the pox, then a haunting. If it is a secret, I promise not to tell a soul. Your pen friend, Constance.
I wonder if there was anything deliberate in the fact that Lady Comstock and Comstock aren't looking at each other.
Lady Comstock, how lovely to see you. Wonderful of you to make the journey, especially considering your painful death 19 years ago.
Lady Comstock?
The dress. The thing has mistaken me for my mother.
Your fingerprints do not seem to be your own today, Lady Comstock. Are you unwell?
This isn't going to work.
I think it can.
Your mother's dead, Elizabeth.
Yes. I think it's time I paid my respects. Let's head to where she's buried.
You know, technology has to be at a pretty weird level in Colombia for that last exchange to take place. But by the sound of things, seems we'll be grave robbing soon. But that'll have to wait until next time. You know something else that went through a real paradigm shift during the Industrial Revolution? Warfare. Firearms in particular changed the nature of infantry, artillery, and battles dramatically. They'd been around for hundreds of years, but they weren't able to replace nearly every other kind of personal weapon until industrial production set in. As such, it's time once again to head to Science Corner to explain how it is that firearms are the natural result of tens of thousands of years of technological development, rather than a modern evil that dared destroy the era of noble knights and chivalry. The quest for range. The spear was among the first inventions of the hominid genus, and they easily predate humanity itself. It's a simple concept after all. Just sharpen a stick or strap on a cutting tool, and you'll be able to harm animals and rival humans without putting your own body at risk. There's a bit of a gray area regarding the next development, but it seems as though archaic Homo sapiens were the first species to come up with the idea of creating smaller, lighter spears meant not for thrusting, but for throwing. The advantage of throwing is that if you've got a good arm, you'll have a lot more time to run away from the angry wounded animal than if you're just a few feet away. On the other hand, we're pretty sure that only Homo sapiens are responsible for the invention of the atlatl, a stick which adds basically another foot or two to your arm length, providing that much more leverage to boost a throwing spear's speed and range. Modern humans then created the first bow, which uses the elasticity of wood to generate even greater force. After their invention, bows went through a lot of developments over the past few millennia. Around 2500 BCE, Central Asians created compound bows which combined wood, horn, and sinew to create a material that's more resistant to high tension, whereas in Wales and England, they simply increased the size of their bows until they were about 6 feet tall and could fire nearly 3-foot long arrows. And for our metric friends, that's basically 2 meters and 1 meter respectively. Around the 6th century BCE, East Asians created the first crossbows, which are bows attached to a mechanism which holds the draw back and allows wielders to use levers and cranks to pull the string back harder than they could by hand. Also, you don't have to exert yourself while you aim, so crossbows are significantly more accurate than normal bows, and you don't need as much training. Still, the added expense of manufacturing a crossbow and the extra time you need to draw one made them uncommon weapons in Europe until around the 12th century CE. In the 9th century CE, Chinese Taoists invented gunpowder. It didn't take them long to realize what all you can use it for. The Chinese quickly went on to invent fireworks, and then the first grenades, rockets, cannons, and firearms. When the Mongols came and appropriated Chinese siege technology, what they took were Chinese gunpowder weapons. And currently, the Mongol invasion is the prevailing theory for how gunpowder weapons came to Europe. Unfortunately, early guns had a lot of drawbacks. On the upside, it didn't require much training, they could deal a devastating amount of damage, and the sound could scare both horses and enemy soldiers. But on the downside, they were inaccurate, they tended to explode in unfortunate ways, they were useless if the gunpowder got wet, they were heavy, they were expensive to manufacture, and they took forever to load. It would require a full millennium before firearms would become the only weapon worth using on the battlefield. The Industrial Paradigm Shift. The history of the gun has been the history of eliminating its weaknesses. Let's tackle them one at a time, shall we? Problem 1. Guns are heavy and unwieldy. The first personal firearms were little more than cannons, small enough for one person to carry and load. They were so heavy you needed a stick to hold them up so you could aim. But on the plus side, all of that bamboo, bronze, or iron made them pretty good as bludgeons. Still, they weren't designed to hit people, and so the first real solution was the bayonet, a blade which you can attach to the muzzle of a gun. The first bayonets were plug types, which meant you basically had to choose between a long arm or a short spear. But by the end of the 17th century, people figured out how to attach bayonets around the muzzle instead of in it, which converted the musket from an awkwardly hard-to-use mid-range weapon to a versatile means of killing both animals and humans. The bayonet still hasn't faded away completely, but it's less useful today thanks to the effectiveness of modern assault rifles and sidearms. Problem 2. Guns tend to explode if mishandled, and sometimes when handled correctly. This problem was felt strongest by the first Chinese soldiers to use personal firearms. I mean, bamboo has a lot of uses, but structural integrity is not its strongest feature. Moving on to iron and bronze helped, as did the invention of the single-piece barrel which didn't need to be strapped together with iron bands, but keeping the guns from exploding or misfiring was so consistently important that the first modern appearance of interchangeable parts came to be in the firearms industry. First in France with General Gribeauval, and then in America with Eli Whitney. Before this point, muskets were handcrafted, and each piece was made to fit with only one model. Afterwards, you could use mechanical instruments and tools to recreate each part so precisely that it could attach to any musket made with the same blueprint. Problem 3. Guns are inaccurate. This one actually got solved a lot earlier than we usually give credit for. At some point, a guy who was cleaning his musket discovered that if he gave his brush a twist every time he pushed it down the barrel, and if he stuck with that twist, his musket balls would fly straighter. Basically everything that comes out of a gun barrel has a bit of lateral momentum, but with a good spin, this lateral momentum will keep the bullet orbiting a single point, making it more accurate instead of less. You can also do the same thing by adding a bit of a curve to an arrow's fletching. Rifles have been around for a long time, but they didn't see much use outside of specialized tasks because black powder tends to leave behind a thick gunk that fills in the grooves, and it also leaves behind a thick smoke that makes precision aiming kind of pointless after a while. The biggest problem, however, was the fact that the rifling grooves made it harder to form that critical airtight seal, and so you needed either a ton of grease or a perfectly sized bullet which took forever to pound into the barrel. As such, rifles didn't really take off until around the American Civil War, when Claude Etienne Minié invented the Minié or mini ball, the first bullet-shaped bullet, which expanded under pressure to create that perfect fit. And then just after the Civil War, folks started inventing smokeless powders, solving the other problem. Problem 4. Wet gunpowder is useless, and guns take forever to load. Now I know that's two problems, but they got solved by the same advancements, so I'm tackling them together. Now at first, you had homemade lead balls and a horn of gunpowder you'd measure out into the cap, or else just eyeball it out. And for the wadding, which created the airtight seal, you used just whatever random scraps of paper or cloth you got lying around. But by the 14th century, people were experimenting with paper cartridges. Cartridges which definitely took off by the 17th century. With a cartridge, you had the bullet, you had just the right measure of gunpowder, and best of all, you could use the paper itself as the wadding. However, even into the 19th century, you still had to fire your gun using a flintlock or a matchlock on an open tray of gunpowder, and that meant firearms were still unreliable in bad weather. So enters the percussion cap of 1820, a tiny brass cap which holds just a little bit of shock-sensitive explosive. With the tap of a hammer, the explosion travels down the nipple, yeah, I know, ignites the gunpowder, and bam! A waterproof firearm. What's more, just 25 years later, the Frenchman Louis-Nicolas Flaubert designed the first integrated metal cartridge with a primer at one end, the powder charge in the middle, and a bullet at the far end. Metal cartridges were also invented in time for the American Civil War, and the Spencer rifle in particular added a 7-round lever-action magazine, which allowed a Union soldier to fire 7 accurate rounds in under 1 minute. Meanwhile, another speed-loading solution which developed during the Civil War was the Gatling gun, the first real machine gun, which used a full 10 barrels to fire at what was then a completely insane speed. The gun needed 10 barrels so that each one would have the opportunity to cool down between shots, and so that the autoloading mechanism could drop a new cartridge in as the operator turned the crank. The next innovation was the Maxim machine gun of 1884, the first automatic firearm which used energy from the shot's recoil to load another bullet into the chamber. It only had one barrel instead of 10, and so it used water to keep the barrel cold. Also, it was so big that it wasn't a personal firearm so much as it was an anti-personnel artillery placement. The Maxim saw extensive use by the British throughout the height of their empire, but by World War I it had for the most part been replaced by the new and improved Vickers machine gun. Personal thoughts. Firearms have become something of a symbol in literature, films, and other media. A symbol of modernism and the destructive power of science. In almost every medieval fantasy setting, firearms are conspicuously absent, even though they were present in Europe for around 200 years before 1453, the year the Turks conquered Constantinople. Hell, the reason the Turks were able to conquer Constantinople was because of a Hungarian cannon expert named Orban. The French won the 100 Years' War because they were consistently able to keep ahead in cannon technology. And Joan of Arc herself showed the world how easy it was to defeat English longbows with French cannons. But this concept extends far beyond the inability of fantasy realms to invent or else distribute the formula for gunpowder. You also see it in a lot of stories that perpetuate the lost wisdom of innocence meme. In Dances with Wolves, you see Lakotans and Pawnee who are apparently unfamiliar with guns, despite how the Wounded Knee massacre happened because the American government thought they had too many guns. In The Last Samurai, the samurai forces fought exclusively with swords, despite how the samurai of the Satsuma Rebellion, which the film was based on, were perfectly fine with using firearms, and in fact, guns have been on the island of Japan ever since the damn Mongols invaded. The samurai weren't fighting for the sake of some fading dream of Japanese chivalry, they were fighting to maintain their right to hack off the heads of peasants who pissed them off. At least in Avatar they had the excuse of being giant aliens with a Mesolithic technology level who could literally commune with nature, but seeing as it's a thinly veiled science fiction allegory, that doesn't stop it from feeding into the meme. And what are guns, really? What is technology at any level of development? It's the culmination of the persistent effort of one species to build the better mousetrap, to create a world in which we can do everything we can conceive of, to survive, to adapt, to thrive. Science and technology are the answers to our questions, the fulfillment of our dreams, and the realization of our stories. How can people claim that humanity has turned away from the environment when humans fight for the environment every day and often win their battles? When we set aside millions of square miles for national forests and parks, when we plant trees and gardens in every city, when we keep pets in our homes and surround every house with grass. We did pave paradise and put up a parking lot, but we then planted a new one on an old landfill. The bald eagle population has completely rebounded since we banned DDT. The ozone layer is slowly replenishing now that we banned CFCs. Acid rain has gone down significantly now that we're regulating sulfate and nitrate pollution. And despite how generations of people were brought up to expect a nuclear Armageddon in their lifetimes, humanity still hasn't destroyed the world. I don't think the state of humanity has ever been better than the state it's in today, and I'm not about to stop hoping or fighting for a better future. How about you? Thanks for joining me again in Science Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.